Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. I'm Mark, and today I'm joined by Lee. How we doing, Lee?
Not too bad, mate. How's yourself?
I'm not bad. I'm surviving. I'm worried. Is it Wednesday yet? It's not coming quick enough.
That's all it is, mate. It's trying to get through to Wednesday now. You're an autopilot until Wednesday.
It's dragging in, isn't it? It's absolutely dragging in.
Tell us about it.
Does they make it any easier, mate? I'm trying to finish my dissertation by Friday now. It was actually due next Friday, because obviously now the small matter of Seville's came up that I'm trying to get it done for this Friday, so it's no fun.
How are you, Stuart? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Is anybody else having a problem with sleeping on the build-up to the next week? Because I'm just getting to the stage, I'm like a cat in a hot tin roof. Just cannot relax at all.
I think we're all like that. So today we're here for the pre-match build-up, Rangers versus Ross County. It's the last home game of the season. Just thanks for everybody for joining us. Thanks for all the listeners. Please subscribe, like, share. You know the stuff. Do all the social media stuff that we like. Also, to the listeners, I'd like to ask you a question. I'm going to ask the boys how they're getting there, if they're getting there. So if you want to put a comment in about how weird and wonderful ways you are getting to Seville, if you are going, let us know, and we'll bring up your comments. So what about you, Lee? Are you going to go?
Hi, mate. I'm on my way. So I'm going from here down to London on Monday night for a flight over to Malaga. And then from Malaga, I'm going actually over to Faro first to get my mates, and then we're bouncing back to Seville on the Wednesday. So it's a wee solo adventure for me for a bit, and then catching up with the pals.
How did you get on with getting digs in Seville? You managed that, or you?
We did, mate. We didn't. Fucking right now, it's about $2,000 or something for a hotel. So
I know.
We're staying in Tuesday night in Faro. I'm staying in Malaga. Just booked a wee room myself because I get in about midnight, and then for Wednesday it's just kind of winging it, mate. If we win, I don't think many people are going to be going back to the hotel rooms anyway. So let's hope we win.
I think it'll be a 6 o'clock in the morning jobby. I'm flying for Birmingham. I'm Birmingham, Malaga, and back to Birmingham again. I've had that absolute howler. I booked flights straight away on the whistle. I was sitting with them in my box, ready to go. Booked them, paid for them. Happy days for me to get an email the next day saying my outbound journey had been cancelled. But it's all right because your return flights are still okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, nightmare. I mean, what's the point of me having return flights if I've not got flights to get out there? So I've cancelled them, but I've managed to. I get. There was a lot of West Ham fans that had booked up and stuff like that. So I managed to get a couple of keen-hearted West Ham fans to sell me the flights and stuff. But I got there in the end. What about you, Stu? You going to go? Are you going to make it? Or are you not going to make it?
Due to unforeseen circumstances, I'm not going to be able to make it, and I'm absolutely gutted about it. But I'll be there in heart and hand and soul.
Yeah, as I said, it's massive, isn't it? It's going to be something special. I know we're here to talk about the Rangers game tonight, but I can't no talk about it. It's something that's, I think, like Lee said there, we're struggling to pass the time of day. It's dragging in. Absolutely dragging in. But just looking at a couple of wee bits and bobs just to pick up, and just before we go into the team and stuff like that. Seen a wee thing about Hagi possibly back for the final, Lee. Is that something that you think's a possibility, or do you think that's just pie in the sky, somebody trying to sell papers?
See, mate, I was confused at first because I don't think Hagi's actually in the European squad. I think if you go on the UEFA website, it says he's not in it. But then why is he getting a photo in the photo shoot if he's not got a chance? But no, I'd like to see him back, mate. But even if he was in the squad, I think it's too soon for him. You don't want to rush somebody back for like a 6 months injury in a couple of months just because they're showing a bit of progress.
Yeah. He's not due back until September. Was it September time he was due to be back?
So, as I said, it's one of those ones that's I think it's just smoke and mirrors, isn't it? Somebody's trying to sell papers. The other person that's probably missing for tonight's squad, that probably we're all hoping is going to be fit. But talking about Roofe, so sure, is Roofe, even if he makes it, do you think he needs a couple of games or at least a game before he goes into the final?
Yeah, with him missing tonight, I think it's imperative that he plays in the Hearts game, just to give him some sharpness back into the legs. Because even though it's only been a couple of weeks, you can lose that sharpness quite quickly. So even if it's just maybe a 60-minute or a 45-minute cameo on Saturday against Hearts, just to give them some confidence going into the final. Because I think even a 60-70% fit Roofe, I think, as we were chatting off air, we need a striker, as even if it's just as a backup to what we're playing the Rebo in the false 9 position.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, there was talk of him that it was just going to make the Leipzig game, the second leg, the one at home, and all of a sudden we've not seen him since. Is that a worry for you, or do you think we've got enough to go on and do it?
I think it's definitely a worry, mate, because we were all in the same boat. We were kind of like led to believe that, out of especially him and Ramsey, he was the one with a better chance at making the Leipzig game. But then straight after, in Gio's presser, there was no sign of him at all. There was no sign he was going to be fit in the coming weeks. So it's a strange one. I think if we've got Aribo, then we can play a certain way that we wouldn't need him, but I wouldn't like to have to rely on that. You want your best players, mate, available, and Roofe's the only out-and-out striker that we've actually got. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he comes back for it, mate. Really hope he does.
You went on mute, Mark.
Sorry, Stuart. It's been said a couple of times that he needs 2 or 3 games, maybe even 4 games to get up to match sharpness. For me, if he doesn't play the weekend, he's not going to play at all. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think he needs that 3 games or whatever it is to match sharpness? I know you said that we need something.
Yeah.
So is he if he plays at the weekend, or he gets some minutes at the weekend, does he start and maybe give him 60 minutes, or do we bring him on late?
I think it would be a case of we would probably start him if he plays at the weekend. This could actually be, I'm just thinking about it there, this could actually be a very tactically genius way that Gio might be working it, to just totally resting him until the final. And then, because Frankfurt, if they say he's not playing, would they strategise to compensate for him coming on or starting? I'm just throwing it out there. It was just a thought. It just came to me there.
It's maybe a shout. Maybe a shout. Lee, would you think Jig gets mind games?
You never know with Gio, mate. I think Gio's kind of shown that he is quite a master tactician, so it could be. But I mean, my heart kind of tells me it's just the fact that Roofe's very injury prone. So I think it probably will be just down to his injury. But if he is back for the Hearts game, I kind of think he had a better game for him to come back in. I mean, both teams are going to be using that as a training exercise, mate. The Hearts will be the Scottish Cup final the next week, so still going to be a game. I think it's like full of rough tackles. It's going to be 2 teams that are trying to get minutes in the legs of players.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to look like an end of season game. Okay, so we do have a game tonight. I don't think anybody's really interested in it, to be perfectly honest. But let's have a look at the team. So the team is McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Bassey, Barisic, Lundstrom, Kamara, Lowry, Aribo, Wright, Kent. What's your thoughts on that, Lee?
No complaints, mate. No complaints. I mean, if we're talking about getting minutes in the players' legs, we need to be well aware that we can't just rest all these players to the final. As much as we want to wrap them up in cotton wool, like trying to get an injury, you're going to need to keep them fit. So for me, it's absolutely no complaints. I kind of expected to go a bit more stronger today than he did at the weekend, and then maybe against Hearts he'll go in between both. He'll do like 45 minutes each for some players.
Yeah. So I mean, is it a balance, Stuart? Is it between keeping the players ticking over and trying to rest them, or is it better to keep the momentum going? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bit of both, because I think what he'll do tonight, he'll utilise the 5 subs. So there'll be players that are playing there, and I think if we go 2-0 up or even more, there'll be players that will only play 45 minutes and they'll be swapped over, just to give some of the fringe players some minutes in their legs, because you never know what might happen over the next 2 games. We might need maybe 1 or 2 of these fringe players to come in and help it in the final, in both finals, to be quite honest. So I think he'll be utilising all 5 substitutes, half time and the 60-minute mark. I do.
Yeah, I think probably it's looking like we're going to start strong. Maybe as a nod to the final. Looking at the first thing that jumps out at me, Lowry starting, Lee. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, we've all been screaming for it for long enough.
Oh, mate, buzzing to see him get a start. It was just, we've seen it in like the wee cameos he's had, what he can do in the ball. So am I right in saying this is his first start for us outside of Livingston in the Cup? Was it?
I'm not 100%
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's his first start, because it was a cup game he started, and I think it's his first start in the league.
Because it's just, I'm really excited to see what he can do, mate. And his wee cameos, he's already shown it. And I think for the fact that he didn't play in the Cup game, the Youth Cup on Monday night, showed that probably was in like the plans for Gio to start this game all along. So just excited to see what he can do, mate. That he's got like more time on the pitch to actually do it.
I think this boy's coming on leaps and bounds. I think that a lot of us are getting excited about him, really excited about him. I mean, he looks like a special talent. Are we putting too much pressure on his shoulders, or do you think he can handle that, Stuart?
I think he can handle it. I really do. He's, from anything that he's done on the pitch, when he came on at the weekend, it looked like he'd been in the squad all season. He had the comp. What I like about young lads is they play with no fear. There's no fear in them. Now, Lowry's been brought up a Rangers man. He knows it. He knows it. He gets it. He does. But he just goes out and plays with no fear. And I think we're getting a really good benefit this season with the 4 that are really coming through. Lowry, Leon King, young Devine when he came on, I thought played really well. Charlie McCann, I don't think Charlie McCann got the credit he deserved from the weekend when he came on. He was another one that didn't look out of place. He looked like he'd been there for maybe half a season. He had. So I think we've got that good crop coming through. But yeah, Lowry, in my opinion, is something special. I think, and this is purely my opinion, I think we had Billy Gilmore who went away to Chelsea. I think Lowry is a better prospect.
Better prospect, Lee? Would you think? Is he as good as that, or is he, as I said there, are we putting far too much pressure on the young boy? Do you think he can handle it?
You can definitely handle it, mate. On the like prospect thing, I wouldn't say we're looking at it through blue-tinted glasses. We probably do look at him more favourably because he is still here, and because he's a more attacking player in that sense. Like the attacking players get more plaudits than usually like the midfield generals, which Billy is. But you can't really complain with that kind of argument either. Like, for what I've seen of Lowry, and to be fair, I hadn't even seen much of Billy Gilmore when he was that age. Lowry he could be like a generational talent for us. I think he would be a mainstay of our team for the years to come if we manage to keep him.
Yeah, I agree with everything you have said there. The boy looks special. I think sometimes you can tell how good a player is just by the way he receives the ball and his movement with his first touch. And it looks like that type of player that kind of usually really, really good players have always look as if they've got hundreds of time in the ball.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of glides across the ground rather than runs. It's almost like he's not putting any effort in. But I think that he's a very good young talent. As I said, I think that the way we're using him, I said gradually bringing him into the squad and stuff like that, I think's perfect. But how big is him signing this new contract, Stuart? He's signed up for another 4 years, so looks as if he's going to be here for a while.
Yeah, massive. As I said on the pod on Sunday, the way he played in that youth game on that ploughed field at Dumbarton, and he was just head and shoulder. He could actually have slotted into the other team and not looked out of place. So getting this new contract, I think the club have done this really well. They have, and it's very similar to the Nathan Patterson situation with the contract. Get him signed up, get him in games, and hopefully he will be a mainstay of our team for the next 10 years. They did Advocat done a very similar thing with Barry Ferguson. He did.
Yeah.
Gave him that 3-year extension on his contract, then gradually brought him in, and then the following season he was a mainstay of the midfield that season. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a Barry Ferguson. I'm not, but I think the potential's there to be one of our main midfielders for the next 10 years, if he wants to be.
What about Davies' comment here, Lee? Durant knew he was the best player in the park amongst men. International player Lowry is the same. Is that big praise indeed?
Oh, mate, this is the highest praise you can kind of get, isn't it? You can just tell by the way that, like you're saying, he saunters around the pitch, mate. There is that swagger. There's no fear from him at all. Like, you see that on Sunday there, he was trying to pick out like long balls more often than not. He wasn't trying to play like the safe pass back into midfield. He was taking the ball on the turn, and he was confident in his own ability. Like, there was one, it was a through ball through to Diallo, and unfortunately the boys are offside. But you're just looking at that, like, you shouldn't be able to do that for 19-year-olds. Like, the player that you are becoming already is outstanding. So I'm really looking forward to watching this game tonight, mate. I feel getting to see youth in games like this when it is a dead rubber is what kind of keeps your attention, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just looking at, so it looks like Aribo's probably going to play the false 9 again. Stuart, is that something you think he's capable of doing, and he's done well when he's done that in the past?
Yeah, I do. I think you don't necessarily have to play the position to know the position, and I think Gio's actually keeping this system going, just in case there is that situation where maybe Roof isn't fit to play for the rest of the season. So just continually keep to play this system, and getting the three up front to really gel together. Because I think the more time they actually play this system, the better they have, and we can only benefit from actually continuing with the system because we're forced to at the moment. But we've always got that backup that if things change, we can bring Sakala on, we can play him through the middle with pace. Yeah,
we've definitely got options. It's looking at the side and looking at the bench as well. Just look at the bench. So on the bench, Balogun, Sands, King, Ahmad, Davis, Ramsey, Fashion Jr. and Arfield. A wee bit surprised Fashion's not starting, Lee, or is it? Would you start right ahead of Fashion?
I don't think I'm surprised, mate. I think he could have went 50-50 with them because I did expect Aribo to come back into that false 9 role tonight, if I'm being honest. If Roof wasn't going to play, then I was kind of expecting to just kind of keep up this whole like plan towards if Roof doesn't make the final. But in terms of that, I'm not really that surprised. I think he'll get on in the second half anyway, and he probably will replace Wright. So it really was just a 50-50 choice between them both.
Yeah, as I said, looking at the bench and looking at the team, I think we're going to start with a strong team, but I think we're going to, like you said, Stuart, we're going to make a lot of substitutions in there. For me, I think probably the surprise. I thought Ahmad might have started. Diallo, I think he might have started. With a view of possibly giving him a wee bit of a run to maybe see if we can get a tune out of him towards the end of the season.
That's actually quite a good call because I think he deserves it after the way he played at the weekend. He's a player playing with confidence, and he's not afraid to go in and put a wee snide tackle in there, and just that tackle he got taken out with when the United player should have been sent off for that. He just got up and walked away, and then he just did that flick over his head the next time they attack. So yeah, I could see that he did deserve maybe a start tonight, but I think we'll see him second half.
So Lee, talking about that, is obviously, do you think he's progressed since he's been here? Obviously, when he first came, he looked a bit lightweight and a bit. Wasn't really into didn't like the rough and tumble. Do you think that's something that he's kind of learned pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think you need to learn that in this game. Especially he's come in Ross County and he's scored the goal, but then you go to them the next game and it's a cauldron. Probably was a bit too early for him to be chucked into a game like that. But I like the way that Gio's kind of handled it since then. He's not just tried to chuck him back in again because his confidence might have been shot. He's worked with him behind the scenes. And even on Sunday, it looked like he toned up a bit. I don't know about what you think, but it looked like he toned up a wee bit. And as you're saying, I think he's learned on the mental side, because you're coming from Atalanta, you're going to Man United, and then you're coming up here. This game's rough and tumble up here, and I think that's what he's probably learned behind the scenes for Gio, is that you do need to have a bit more of the physicality and the kind of mental side of it, and it showed on Sunday that I think he's got that. Like you're saying, he's putting in the wee snide tackles, he's getting straight back up for dirty challenges. So I'd like to see them.
So the old chestnut in it. It looks as if he's caught Rangers-itis, isn't it? He's all over social media telling us how much he loves us and stuff like that. And to be fair, the wee guy could have come up here, massive price tag in his head. He could have come up here and thought, I'm going to walk into this team, and when he didn't, he could have took a huff and just down tools. So I mean, looking at that and looking at how he's probably progressed and the way he's kind of talking up the club and stuff like that, is there maybe scope there to try and maybe get him for another season, Stuart? Is that something you think we would possibly do?
I've seen it on social media today, and I wouldn't be adverse to it, because I think Ahmad was Michael Beale signing. So I think Gio's had a lot to do with the improvement that young lads made, which you tend to get from Dutch coaches anyway. You do. So yeah, there's a couple of games. I wouldn't be adverse to him getting another season on loan.
What about you, Lee? Do you think it's maybe worth a wee punt just to bring him in and see if he can kick on?
Mate, I think it'd be a brilliant decision. If you're talking just on pure talent alone, it'd be hard to argue that he's not probably one of the most talented players we've got. Just in terms of close control, to me, mate, he's faster than Sakala with the composure. He's got the ball control that Fashion Sakala doesn't have. That's what he reminds me of. And now that he's been here for 6 months, he's kind of learned that side of the game up here. So if we manage to get him back in another year's loan for next season, mate, I feel like he'd only kick on.
Yeah, as I said, I think if we're not going to spend stupid money on bringing him back for another year, I don't see why not. I think that he's kind of proven that he's a decent squad player. He's kind of proven that he's progressed. I mean, remember, he's a young boy, lots of miles away from home that he's come up, and I'll probably put money in it. I'll not understand half of what the Scottish people are saying to him. So it's a massive testament to the boy that he's come up here, and I think he's took the club to his heart, and it's obviously, I don't know. I think he maybe fancy it. I don't think he's going to get in that squad, the Man United squad next season anyway. I don't think he's anywhere near ready for that, so it might be worth a shout. It's for me, I would definitely, as I said, if it's not going to cost us millions and millions of pounds to bring him back for another season, I think he'd probably be quite happy to come back for another season. So I think it's definitely worth a punt. Just to the listeners, I'm going to ask the boys their score predictions in the first scorer. So if you guys want to think about what your score's going to be and who's going to be the first goal scorer, I'll get them up for you. Just before we kind of wrap up, Kent. So Kent's playing. Would you, Stuart? Would you be under the kind of thoughts of maybe wrapping him up in cotton wool, or do you just say, do you know what, just go and play? As I say, it's quite a fine balance between resting players, keeping them ticking over, but I mean, everybody knows Kent just gets kicked to death in Scotland, doesn't
he? Yeah. I think that was one of the big surprises in the team sheet tonight that I seen was Kent starting. But he rides challenges. He does. And I think it'll just be a cameo appearance tonight. I think he'll get 45 minutes. Go out, do his job for the first half. If we go 2-0 up, he's off at half time. And bring one of the young lads on, and shift the front line around. But yeah, it is a fine line. But as we talked earlier, and we talked in the previous pods, trying to second guess Gio with team selection, and it's unreal. For times if we were managers, we would rest certain players. Gio's going, no, you're good. And maybe the players want to go out and keep on playing just because they want to know that they can keep up the standards that they're showing at the moment.
Yeah.
So, but just trying to second guess Gio is just impossible.
That's not a bad thing. Just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was a good one. I seen that myself. What do you think of that, Lee? The possibility of Gilmore coming back on loan. I've seen it in a couple of places. What's your thoughts on it, Lee?
I would be for it, but only on the stipulation that it didn't restrict Lowry's game time, because that's the thing that you kind of worry about. Like, you're bringing this young player up on loan, then obviously if he's going to get first team football, then somebody needs to drop it. The boy's a cracking talent, mate. I mean, I was calling for him on loan at the start of this season and then in January, but with Lowry coming through and showing how composed and how easy he's settled into the first team, I would only like it if it meant that Lowry was still getting the same amount of game time.
I think that's probably a good shout as well. Just looking at some of the predictions, we're going to put you in the spot, Stuart. What's your score prediction and first goal scorer? I'm
going to agree with one of the posts that was out by Callum C. I'm going to go 4-0 Lowry.
4-0 Lowry. Here's hoping. That sounds like a good result. What about yourself, Lee?
3-0. I was going to say 3-1, mate, but not at home. Not today. 3-0. I'll go 3-0 and I'll go Ryan Kent, mate. I'll go Ryan Kent to get his goal.
I think he's due a goal into Ryan Kent.
Yeah.
Majorly.
My prediction, I think I'll go 3-0 and I'll go Aribo, because I think Aribo's due a goal as well, especially when I'm playing that false nine. I think that's it. So, right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. As I said, it's a pretty short but sweet one tonight. I think I used to both on the reaction.
Aye.
For the both of you doing it. I think it's a 3 years back later on again. So we'll be sick of the sight is. Right, guys, as I said, thank everybody for watching, and we will see you again very, very soon. Take care.